Good afternoon. We are here in Milano in Art Lab with Stein Henrichsen, and he's the director of the Munch Museum in Oslo. It is a museum already existing, but it's going to be renewed, and they are building a new huge museum in the city. And it is important for the role it will get to for the city, for the city of Oslo, and also because it's planned to be one of the biggest museums dedicated to an artist. And we are here from yesterday morning, and I heard you said no one leaves the museum without inspiration. Okay. What do you mean exactly with this? How can you inspire the people, the public, the visitors at the museum? What do you do?
We really need to inspire people that visit our museum and make a difference. And I think being an art museum, we really need to make our expressions strong through the arts. First of all, we need to have exhibitions that are pointed, that are relevant, and that is really creating emotional reflection and intellectual reflection in the audience that is visiting the museum. But of course we also have a wider experience. When you visit the museum you can also hear concerts and other activities. We have restaurants of course, and we have a library, and we have a cinema, and it's a wider experience. Also a wonderful building with a perfect view to Oslo and the fjords. But first of all, it's very important that we create exhibitions that really reflects the concerns of people today, and that are helping to solve some of contemporary people's most important questions and challenges. So that's how we want to inspire people.
What do you think about the role of the museum in this transformation? I mean, you say there are several cultural attractors near the museum. Which is the first part transformed? Which is the role of the museum? How can you imagine the link between the museum and the other parts of the other cultural attractors? What do you think about that? You see it's more similar to a Guggenheim effect? I mean, with a strong first museum, or maybe a district where the different players play together?
Well, first of all, the Munch Museum is not only a local museum. We have exhibitions all over the world. But when it comes to our new museum, it's built in a new part of Oslo, which is completely new, but at the same time built on the site where Oslo was actually established historically. So it's a wonderful place, very historical site as well. And in this new part of Oslo, there will be 30,000 people living, 30,000 people working, and a lot of cultural institutions. For example, not only the Munch Museum, but the new opera building, the new public library, and the new photographic museum, as well as other smaller institutions and galleries and so forth. So it's going to be a wonderful new part of the city, but also very challenging because all this is happening at once. It's not like a development happening over many years and let's say more building on a long tradition, but it all happens at the same time. So we have, for example, one thing we are doing is inviting all the people that is going to live in this area, work in this area. We have constructed a foundation that work together to make sure that this new area is going to be wonderful to visit, wonderful to work in, and also wonderful to live in. So this is a city development project. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how we can succeed in creating a nice environment for everybody that is connected to this site. And this is certainly something that we are really concerned with and working very hard with. But at the same time, the Munch Museum is also a national institution and it's an international institution. So the local city development project is only a part of what we are concerned with.
And what is your inspiring idea? I mean, do you imagine something like similar to other cities for the museum, or also for the area that is going to be built?
Well, I think every cultural institution has to take a strong social role in the development of society. And we really can do that. We have the means, we have the attention, and we have the credibility, so we can really make a difference in how society is developing. So I think when it comes to only the local society, but the national society, and also to some extent international society, the Munch Museum should take part and be relevant and work on delivering on the values that we have, which is human freedom, freedom of speech, and this is something that I think we can participate in to make a better society for the future. So that's one of the aims of this museum, to show art and to be relevant, and also have a very strong emphasis on contemporary art, which is voices of today, which reflects the human condition and the human challenges of today. So in the new Munch Museum, it's not only going to be Munch, it's going to be also a strong contemporary art venue, a platform for contemporary reflection and contemporary speeches.
And if you think I want to be similar to, I want to be inspiring to this kind of museum or the other museum, is there a model that you have in your mind or not?
Actually, building a new museum in Oslo, my team has been looking at more than 100 museums worldwide. That's because we have a lot of collaborations. We do maybe 8 and between 10 and 20 loans and exhibitions internationally every year. And we have been visiting museums that we think are interesting in best practices. And I think, of course, there are some museums that are really successful. The Tate Modern in London is really successful. The Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam is really successful. The Salvador Dali Museum in Florida is really successful. I could mention a lot more museums that is doing very well. Also in Scandinavia, we have very good examples of that. The Aros Museum in Aarhus, for example. And we see also that some museums now have more than 1 million visitors every year, and they're really relevant for the surroundings, for the local milieu, and also for international visitors. So I think there are a lot of successful stories that we can look at. And of course, we think that we are also one of them, and we are going to be even more successful in the future.
How can you imagine the sustainability of the museum? I mean, the activities, which are the funding mix, okay, between public and the private sector.
Today we have more than 100 collaborators at the Munch Museum, more than 100 partners. This is not only because we need to have a financing of our exhibitions and our activities and our research programs and the children's programs. This is more because we need to be reaching out to society and inviting the whole of society into the museum to participate in creating our programs, and activities. So we have partners from not only the private industries and the tourist industries, but also from other cultural institutions. For example, the Oslo Philharmonic is doing the chamber music series in the museum. And we also have a very strong collaboration with the primary schools, with the high schools, with the colleges, and also the universities. We invite all these people into the museum to participate in decision making, participate in how we design our exhibitions and how we design our activities. So I think it's very important that we have a strong relationship to the society around us, and that's how we can be important for society, that's how we can be relevant for the society, and that's how we can survive and be sustainable over a lot of years in the future. And I think that's also a very important tool in order to make our museums worthwhile and make it worthwhile to invest not only from the private sector but also from the public sector in the future.
guess this is your first time in Art Lab, maybe not the last. And what do you think about that, about Art Lab?
I have had a wonderful feeling about being here. I also have a colleague here, and we have been discussing being at the Art Lab. It's a wonderful program. We have been very inspired. We have met a lot of people that we find very interesting and seen a lot of projects that we also find very interesting. So I think it's a good place to connect to other people that could be valuable for us. And I also hope that we can contribute this year and in the future to this environment. And it has been really inspiring. And I think we go back home to Norway with a lot of new ideas, a lot of new friends, and a lot of new inspiration. So thank you so much to Art Lab for creating this environment. It's really fun to be here, and I look forward to come back.